The Battle of Sedgemoor, fought on July 6, 1685, was the final and decisive battle of the Monmouth Rebellion, which aimed to overthrow King James II of England, Scotland, and Ireland. The rebellion was led by James Scott, 1st Duke of Monmouth, the illegitimate son of King Charles II and nephew to King James II. The battle took place on the Somerset levels near the village of Westonzoyland in Somerset, England. The Monmouth Rebellion began in June 1685, when the Duke of Monmouth landed at Lyme Regis in Dorset, with the aim of claiming the English throne. Monmouth was a Protestant, and had significant support among those who feared the Catholic rule of King James II. Rallying support from the West Country, Monmouth's forces were mostly composed of poorly armed and inexperienced farmers, craftsmen, and other civilians. The rebel forces, though initially enthusiastic, lacked proper military organization, discipline, and leadership. Monmouth hoped to gather more support as he advanced, but his army remained largely untrained and ill-equipped compared to the professional royal army. On the night of July 5, 1685, Monmouth's army made a desperate attempt to launch a surprise night attack on the royal forces encamped at Sedgemoor. The royal army, led by Lord Feversham and John Churchill, later the Duke of Marlborough, had fortified themselves in the nearby village of Westonzoyland. Monmouth believed that a swift attack might defeat the government forces before they could organize. The rebels, however, faced several disadvantages. They were unfamiliar with the local terrain, and many of the lowland fields in Somerset were separated by drainage ditches known as rines, which made it difficult for them to maintain the element of surprise. As Monmouth's forces approached the royal camp, they encountered royal sentries, and the alarm was raised. Once alerted to the rebel approach, the royal troops quickly assembled. Monmouth's forces, disorganized and confused by the darkness and the complex terrain, struggled to coordinate their assault. The battle was brief but bloody. The rebel forces, armed mostly with farm tools and rudimentary weapons, were no match for the professional soldiers of the royal army, who were well armed with muskets, bayonets, and artillery. The government forces swiftly gained the upper hand, and the rebel army was overwhelmed. Many of the rebels tried to flee, but they were pursued by cavalry and infantry. The royal army's disciplined firepower and cavalry charges caused heavy casualties among Monmouth's men. The battle resulted in a complete rout of Monmouth's forces. Around 1,000 rebels were killed during the battle, or in the pursuit that followed. Hundreds more were captured, including Monmouth himself, who was later executed for treason. The aftermath of the battle was marked by a brutal crackdown on the remaining rebels, known as the Bloody Assizes. The infamous Judge George Jeffreys presided over the trials, sentencing hundreds of Monmouth's supporters to death, or transportation to the colonies. The harsh punishments meted out to the rebels were meant to serve as a warning to others who might consider challenging the authority of the king. The Battle of Sedgemoor was significant for several reasons. It marked the end of the Monmouth Rebellion and solidified James II's control of the throne. It was the last pitched battle fought on English soil, and it highlighted the vulnerability of poorly organized and equipped forces when facing a well-trained professional army. The rebellion also underscored the deep religious and political divisions in England, particularly the tension between Protestant and Catholic factions. However, James II's harsh response to the rebellion, including the Bloody Assizes, contributed to growing discontent with his rule. This dissatisfaction eventually led to the Glorious Revolution of 1688, in which James II was deposed and replaced by William of Orange, a Protestant ruler. In this sense, while the Monmouth Rebellion was a failure, it set the stage for the later political upheavals that would transform England's monarchy.